Hi, and welcome to the first of the Growing Care Farming monthly webinars. This one is showcasing creative engagement on social media. Please note that there are a couple of points where the audio drops out, and we will of course try to ensure that future webinar recordings run more smoothly. Hope you enjoy the webinar and find it useful. It is now.
Yeah, we are. So we're recording the webinar, and we are planning to upload it to the SF&G website in due course. We might just have to see how this one goes initially. But we just wanted to let you all know that your details and attendance are private, and we won't be sharing them with anybody. You've probably all realised, because you've probably been all able to hear us all gassing for the last 5 minutes. We can't hear you. Hopefully you can hear us. If you are having any problems, do use the chat or the question function on the settings up the side of it. We just thought this was going to be an easier way. We've had quite a big response to this first webinar, which we're very pleased about, but we thought it was probably just going to be easiest to manage the chat function via people just sending them in via sort of text through the settings on that. And Sarah you can either type it in and Sarah will pick the question up, or we can unmute you later on and allow you to sort of have a chat with us and a chat with everybody else. We can't stream videos through this, which is a bit of a shame, because Jeff and Lucy have got some fantastic videos, but I think Sarah's sent around the videos already, the video links. Hopefully you've seen those, and for those of you that haven't, do follow them afterwards, and we'll be supplying the slides. Rachel, can you just flick on onto the next slide? So yes, just wanted to welcome you all. I'm Deborah Evans. I'm the Regional Care Farming Manager. We've got Rachel up on the screen as well, who's waving now. She's the Care Farming Development Manager. Sarah Marison. Do you want to wave, Sarah?
Sorry, I'm just trying to view the questions and respond to people.
Okay,
Hi.
Sarah Marison is our Regional Support Officer, and she's available. And then we've got Lucy. Give us a wave, Lucy, from Thornwood Alpacas, who's going to be talking to us about how they've been handling their social media and engagement with their clients, and Jeff from Pathways as well. Give us a wave, Jeff.
I'm the token man.
The token man, yes. So they will be sharing their experiences with us shortly. Rachel, can you just flip the screen on the?
Oh, yeah. Hang on.
Next one.
Sorry, can I just check, Debbie? Can you see this little icon for the webinar bit on top of the slides, or can you see the slide? I can't get rid of it without.
Oh no, I can't see you. No, I can't see that. Right. I can just see the slide. Yeah, don't worry.
Sorry, I'll show you.
That's absolutely fine. So hopefully most of you, you're receiving our bulletins. That's the reason why you have joined us today. You've heard from us, you've been engaged with us in the past. We're running the Growing Care Farming project in partnership with Thrive. I won't labour this as we uploaded, most of you will have seen it before. But basically it combines these 4 key elements: the central support and resources, regional engagement, the training and the quality assurance. Some of you have already gone through the code of practice to transform the scale of care farming sector across England. Rachel, you can flick the slides on. We've been rather hit, like the rest of the country, by COVID-19, hence why we're all sort of moving and hopefully getting a lot more sophisticated with managing this sort of thing. 3 out of the 4 elements that I've outlined in the previous slide do rely on a lot of face-to-face engagement, which obviously we can't do now. So we're in response to this, we're moving to a much more sort of centralised way of doing things. The virus obviously doesn't respect regional boundaries. We're all in this together, and I think there's a lot of really good things happening around the country which we want to share. We're all having to embrace new approaches, and I think it's really, really important that we sort of share those experiences going forward. We are planning to resume face-to-face from January, and we'll hopefully be having a conference in February, March 2021. So hopefully we will see you all face-to-face at some point, but at this moment in time, I think it's going to be mainly through screens. And just before we go any further, I did just want to say that we've got, oh, Rachel, can you just flick on the screen on one, please? Thanks. Just to outline what we're going to do today, we've got Rachel's going to just give us a very brief picture of the current situation for care farms. This is based on the survey response that Social Farms and Gardens has done recently, and we just thought you might be interested to get a bit of a picture of what's going on. And then we've got the main event, and the people I'm sure you really want to hear from is Lucy and Jeff talking about sort of social media and how they are engaging with their clients and the wider world. And I do just want to say that although it's Lucy and Jeff today, we do recognise that there's some really, really amazing work going on all around the country. We can't highlight it all at once. I think it would be a bit chaotic. But do find us on Twitter. We are sharing a lot of what's going on in that way. And this hopefully is just the first of a number of webinars, and we are very open to your feedback and other things which you would like to hear about. At the end, what we'll do once Jeff's finished speaking is stop the recording, and then we'll have some time for questions. How have we managed that? So hopefully that's clear. So Rachel, if I hand over to you.
Yes, sorry, I was muted. Thank you, Debbie, and welcome everybody. Now I'm sharing the screen, so I can't actually see anybody or what's going on. So bear with me if you wave and I don't see you. So yes, I just really wanted to talk about just the results really from some of the care farms from the Social Farms and Gardens survey. The survey is still open for responses. If you want to have your say, then let us know and we'll ping you the link so that you can give us your opinion as well. From I think it was something like 238 responses from Social Farms and Gardens members. 53 care farmers have responded. Majority of those are in England, 1 in Wales, 5 in Scotland and 4 in Northern Ireland. So I just thought it'd be interesting for you to see what people have told us about what's happening. So in terms of are people open or not, the majority, you can see that a tiny minority, 2% of care farms are working as normal. The 24%, they're completely closed, not open to staff or service users at all. And 57% of care farms are in this category here, where some staff are going in to maintain the site, but it's generally closed to general public. And then you can see the categories there. So that was just a bit of a just thought it'd be interesting for you to see what's going on in the sector. I can't actually see my slides because the GoToWebinar thing is on top of it, which is quite interesting for presenting, so please bear with me. Okay, what else did we ask? We wanted to know really what's happening. How are care farm staff, volunteers working at the moment? And you can see that the majority, or people could tick more than one box on here, so there's a lot of work on site without members of the public or service users, and staff are going in to maintain basically to carry out essential site maintenance, looking after the animals, growing food. In terms of staff, where possible, a lot of staff are working from home, and you can see about the same number of staff have been furloughed as well. So a real mixed bag. And I was quite heartened to hear that some care farms are actually still delivering care farming, albeit in a reduced capacity. So that was really interesting to see. And one of the questions was asking whether COVID-19 was putting your care farms and other sites under financial stress, and probably no surprises there to say that the majority of people said yes to that. And but still, again, heartening that a quarter of care farms said that they weren't facing financial issues as a result of the crisis. So that is good news. And I think this is, we asked people what support they needed. Now, please excuse the quite hecticness of the graph here, but essentially people wanted, when they said, this was the question, just to remind you, is what can social farms and gardens do to help? What are your support needs? And we put a number of options together. People said that they wanted some online resources and online toolkits, advice on alternative fundings, origin, where you could get alternative funding from, and they also told us that they wanted webinars and that sort of thing, advice on running things like that. So sort of really interesting, the range of support needs that came back there. And again, another biggie was sort of advice on planning post COVID-19. How do we all work together to come through this successfully, really? So the graph there shows the support needs. I'm going to put all this together, and it will be slightly better presented a little bit further down the line. And when we ask people, how do you want to get this? I think this is the wrong graph actually, but anyway, but people very much said that they wanted webinars, that they found webinars useful. So hopefully you will find today's webinar useful. We really do feel like we're responding to needs that have been outlined to us. So I think that's probably yeah, that's me done. So hope that was useful. Do you want to, if you've got any questions about this, do let me know at the end of the webinar. Debbie, I think I'm going to, do you want to know?
I'm handing over to Lucy actually now, if Lucy takes the screen.
Right, Hope.
I don't know how to do that.
Okay, let me,
hang on a minute.
I think I'm just going to make Lucy the presenter. Lucy, you're now the presenter.
Thank you.
Oh, great.
Okay, can you see that?
Yes, we can see that, yeah.
Fabulous.
Okay, so,
perfect. Yeah.
So I'm correct in that I can't see anybody or hear anybody, but I can see my screen. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes.
Wonderful. That's not strange at all. Wonderful. So, hi everybody. For those of you who haven't met me before, my name's Lucy Thornton and I run Thornwood Alpacas and Care Farm over in a little village called Oxenhope in West Yorkshire. So I'll just tell you a little bit about where we're at with regards to our farming practice, or not, as the case may be, and a little bit of sort of what we've gone through and what we're doing to try and keep afloat during the coronavirus, and just to share with you some ideas about how you can creatively engage with your service users and with your followers on social media, and how it actually does work. You have to keep at it, but it does work. So so Thornwood Alpacas is an alpaca trekking business, and our Care Farm is a community interest company. So our alpaca trekking has obviously stopped, as well as our Care Farm. So we've lost, as most care farms have, pretty much all of our funding as soon as the restrictions were put in place. And after an initial, I suppose similar to everybody else, you go through the emotions of freaking out and worrying about eating baked beans and not being able to feed the animals and all that kind of stuff. I think then we're in a really strong position to be creative and to be innovative and to put some really cool things in place that will hopefully keep, not necessarily bring money in, but keep our followers and keep the service users engaged and active, because as you will know, we're going to be really important people, the care farming sector, at the end of all of this, because we're providing an amazing service for well-being. So it's just a case of keeping yourselves out there, really. So the first thing that I did, and I'm quite active on social media anyway, I'm a little bit obsessed with Facebook and have been forever, probably to my detriment, but maybe not in this case. So I would just, what we did was just really threw ourselves out there on social media. So we use Facebook, we use Instagram, and we use Twitter as our three main social media platforms. We weren't on Twitter before this particularly. I think I had an account, but I looked at it and got scared and didn't really understand, it or the benefits of it. So we've really made a big effort to try and work out what each social media platform is useful for and how to target various different people, places, businesses, organisations. And I think I'm learning slowly, but getting there. So we use Facebook for our kind of information giving. So we've got about 4,000 followers on Facebook. We've had 1,000 of those followers since lockdown through various different methods, which is, I wasn't expecting that really. So Facebook, you have to rely on people to share it. So as soon as you can get your story out there and post pictures of your cute animals and what you're doing and how coronavirus is affecting you and just some cute little videos and things like that, Facebook's a really good one for that. I'll talk about Facebook Live in a minute. Facebook we use for just connecting with people, and you can post 3 or 4 different times a day, breakfast, lunch and dinner, that kind of stuff, and it'll just keep people ticking over and interested in what you're doing. We use Instagram. I only half understand Instagram, but we use Instagram just for quick. If I'm out in the field and I take a picture of something that's cute, I'll shove it on Instagram and put a couple of hashtags, like hashtag cute chick day or whatever, and maybe tag in the local newspaper or something else that comes. If you click like the hashtag on your computer, it'll come up with lots of different suggestions, like alpacas of Instagram or chicks being cute on Instagram, whatever. You can use those as like little buzzwords, and that should increase your following on Instagram. And then we use Twitter. As I said, I'm quite new to Twitter, but I believe it's quite a professional platform. So we're starting to use Twitter for tagging in radio stations, so BBC Radio Leeds and Yorkshire Post. So quite influential people who might be interested in running a story, and also businesses, so like-minded businesses, and you can kind of get a little bit of a sharing, I don't really know what the word to use is, like an ethos really, where you're kind of doing each other favours. So if you're interested in something that maybe one of your local care farms that you link with has posted, you can share what they've put, and they will share your stories in turn. And the following, it becomes really big. So I quite like Twitter. You can retweet other things as well. So I think actually I've just retweeted something that Rachel shared this morning about well-being and nature, and I've sort of tailor-made it to what we can offer once lockdown's over. So hopefully that'll get some information, hopefully that'll get some interest from some of Rachel's followers as well as some of ours, if that makes sense. So that's how we're using social media, just to try and get out there. It has worked. Twitter worked. We were on BBC Radio 5 Live last week with our alpacas. I got spat at in the face by one of my alpacas on live radio, but it kind of added to it, I think. So yeah, and we're on Heart Radio in the morning, or no, we're not. We're on BBC Radio Leeds in the morning. So they are. So the influential people are there, and they are interested. So this is a screenshot from our Facebook page. We do a regular Facebook Live Friday, and I've just advertised it today for this Friday with a cute picture of an alpaca. And you could do something. I haven't done this just because I've actually got a peacock that keeps attacking me, and if I go anywhere on the farm that's near the peacock, then it's quite embarrassing because I'm on Facebook Live and people see me getting attacked by him. So I haven't done this, but you could be in a really good position to, sorry, I've just got a message saying slow network connection. Can you still hear me? Can you still hear me? No, I've gone.
Yeah, I can hear you, Lucy.
You can still hear me.
I can still hear you, yeah. If you're having problems, turn your video, your webcam off. It might just give you a bit more.
Oh, okay. Hang on 1 second. Oops. Am I good now?
Yeah, I can still see everything.
Okay, that's cool. I'll just keep talking. I can only hear, maybe only you can hear me. I don't know.
I can hear you. I don't know whether anybody else can hear you.
Okay, cool. Let's keep going. Okay, cool. So yeah, so this is our Facebook page. What I was going to suggest other people could do is you could do Facebook Live mini tutorials, like bite-sized topics. So you could maybe do cows one week and ferrets the next and rabbits the following week. and maybe a tutorial on, I don't know, seed grafting for apple trees, or whatever it is that you're doing in your care farming anyway. We obviously specialise in alpacas, but I'm aware that there are community gardens out there that might be planting seeds or being sustainable or doing some hedge laying or whatever. So you could maybe just interact with your service users and the people who are going to visit your farm after lockdown and once restrictions are lifted, by offering them, it only has to be a 10-15 minute, advertise it beforehand, ask them some questions. So are you going to be joining us for our XYZ, whatever it is? Be great to see you, the more the merrier. And you should get quite a few people interested. It's a free service that you are offering, but it will bring in people to your social media. So we had the first Facebook Live we had about 60 people watching at the time, and then afterwards it saves it to Facebook, and we had about 1,500 people watched it afterwards. It has gone down since then, so I'm trying to think of something creative to bring it back up again. The other thing that we have just launched, we did copy, I don't know if you've seen, we did copy in America. They've got like a goat to you, like a virtual goat to your, I don't know, Zoom meeting or conference call. So we're now doing virtual alpaca experiences. We've done about 5 so far in various different settings, from family birthdays to a conference call in London, which was random, but yeah, various different, and just one-to-one sessions as well. So our service users who come on a one-to-one basis, some of them have sort of just accessed this. So that's worked really well. I know that a lot of people, I'm not, but a lot of people have signed up to Airbnb, as you can see on the image, and they're doing a virtual visit to an animal sanctuary. I think that's in America, but if you have a look on Airbnb, there's loads of people doing a little an offer like that and charging per person to come and join you. So that's something, if you've got loads of stuff going on with the animals, charge people to come and see it, or ask for a donation or whatever. Seemingly the people who have Zoomed with my alpacas have said that it has been incredibly beneficial to their mental well-being, even though the alpacas are behind a screen and they're seeing them not up close and not in person, and they're still really, really beneficial. So yeah, so that's worked really well, and that's what the people, so the influential radio people and the TV people, they seem, that's what they're interested in, is this Zooming virtual alpaca thing. Okay, the other thing that we're doing, and this does depend on your background a little bit. So my background is teaching, and I used to teach animal studies, and we do run education programs at the farm, and I know a lot of people do run educational stuff. We work with the home education community, and we will also be working with our adult service users with learning disabilities on this as well. So we're running our animal care programs online. So we are an AQA Unit Award Centre, and I'm quite happy to answer questions on that separately, or if you want to give me a call or drop me an email about that, I'm very happy to discuss that with you. But we've advertised our animal care programme. So we already had one group come into the farm every week anyway, and they just were really happy to go online, and we use Zoom and we use Google Classroom. And we basically deliver anything we possibly can do as an online virtual programme. So we've done, so my background's animal behaviour, so we've done animal behaviour observations where I've taken videos of the animals on the farm, or the students have accessed sheep or lambs in the fields on their daily exercise, or they've got gerbils at home. So we've done animal behaviour, we've done a chick hatching programme online, we've done virtual lambing, where we've filmed lambing and we've talked about how best to get lambs out in certain circumstances. We've talked about all sorts of different things. We're doing animal training, so anything really, and all of those can be linked to an AQA Unit Award. So AQA is it's a measure of achievement rather than a qualification, and it's based at entry level to level 2. So it's quite low level, and you can write your own units as well. So whatever you have going on your farm, whatever you're doing, whether it be horticulture, agriculture, permaculture, spinning, animal care, whatever it might be, you can write an AQA Unit Award for it. And it isn't a massively expensive program like BTEC or City and Guilds. So so it works really well, and as a teacher, or as an ex-teacher, I found it really good to get back into that, sort of come back to my passion a little bit. And I'm going to continue doing this online even after restrictions are lifted. So we've added this to our provision, and it will go on the website. So something good has come out of this situation. And there's loads of stuff online, like crosswords and word searches and interactive games and puzzles, and polls and things like that that you can play about with. So that's what I'm spending my time doing. And I think this is the last thing that I was going to mention, and it's very brief, and I'm sure people are way more creative than me, and I haven't done very many of these competitions just because I've got other stuff going on, but I've seen people do this really well. So I did a quick competition right at the very beginning of lockdown, where I shared this on my Facebook and Instagram, I think, and I asked people to choose an alpaca and a number and donate £3 to my PayPal account. And then I did like a random number generator in a Facebook Live and picked a name out of a hat, and they won a voucher to walk their alpaca. I haven't done it again. It wasn't hugely popular. The numbers didn't sell as quickly as I thought they would, but I did see there's another alpaca checking centre in Cheshire, and they did one, and they had 50 numbers. They had 50 numbers? No, they didn't. They had 100 numbers in a grid, and they charged £5 per number. And the numbers sold out in about 48 hours. And that's quite nice money for them to be able to look after animals while they were closed. And it worked really well for them. So there's loads of stuff like that that you can do. As I said, it wasn't as successful for me. I don't know why. Not sure. Cool. So I think
Hi,
I will.
thanks, Lucy. I was just going to say, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, a couple of questions have popped up relating to what Lucy's just said, so I was wondering whether we should just tackle them as we go along. So the first question has come from Catherine, which says, "Hi Lucy, I thoroughly enjoy your Facebook Live. Can I ask how you find the time to reply to all the comments you get on social media, plus running the farm? Don't want it to be too labour intensive."
I really like social media, and I think that helps. I have it on my phone, and it is a case of you don't really switch off, I think, when you've got so much social media stuff going on. The farm, yeah, it's really tricky. And to be honest, you don't have to reply to every single comment. You can just give them a like or give them a love heart or something like that. So I tend not to reply to every single one. If someone's asking me a question and it's a valid question, then I will respond to it. I think, yeah, I don't know. I think you've got to be prepared maybe just to be sat in the evening watching Coronation Street or whatever it is that you do in an evening, and just, if your phone pings, just to give it a little reply. But I have had a big battle with this and work-life balance with social media. So it isn't for everybody. Yeah, I don't know. I can only just half answer that, sorry.
Right, okay, and then we've had a question from Harriet, who says, "Lucy, what do you do with the alpacas during a virtual visit?" So I think she means I don't know whether Harriet means the sort of on the meetings, perhaps, when you're sort of getting alpacas to people's meetings and things.
So all I do is I use my phone, and I use various different platforms. So whether it's Zoom or Facebook or FaceTime, whatever they prefer, they might use WhatsApp or whatever. And all we do is, so I just run a 30 minutes is usually enough when you're talking through the alpacas. 30-minute session. A lot of people will give you what they want. So some people will say, their character, and I'll just say to the people on the call, on the video, if you've got any questions that you want to ask, I'll answer them, and that's basically it. I'll always have carrots, so I stuff my pockets full of carrots so that the alpacas are always interested in me. It's just a little bit of pre-planning, and other than that, yeah, basically that's it, and then they take over from there.
Great. Okay. Mark has popped up and said, "How much do you charge for a virtual alpaca experience?"
Ooh, that's a tricky one. It's tricky because I've just seen somebody charging really, really not very much, and some people doing it for free. So I charge for 30 minutes, I charge a donation between 20 and 30 pounds, and I just give them the option, and they can either, and that there's no limit on people, I can do that with however many people, and they either pay and donate into the crowdfunder, because we've got a little crowdfunder going, or they can just pay by PayPal or by backs, whatever they prefer, in advance. And they've all said that that's absolutely fine. I think people want to help, don't they? And I think it makes a difference.
Great. Okay. And Harriet's come back and said, "Great, thanks." So you've obviously got the right answer to the right question. So
Brilliant.
Great.
Okay, well, there'll be more time for questions afterwards. So thank you very much, Lucy. And as we say, we will make sure that her slides are available after this. So I'm going to hand over to Jeff, who hasn't got slides, but I did just put up, Rachel, if you wouldn't mind sharing your screen. Right? Jeff's going to talk about what he's been up to at Pathways. Sarah had shared the links in advance, so hopefully some of you have had a chance to look at his YouTube clips. And we've just got a slide with just some screenshots of some things from there. So I'll leave Rachel to find that. But in the meantime, I will hand over to Jeff.
Hi. I was fascinated by, I've tuned into a few of Lucy's live Fridays and think they're great. Lots of energy and enthusiasm and real fun. And it really did make me feel like I was there, which I think is a huge part of the enjoyment of it. One of the things that I wanted to say was I'm not into social media. So I'm completely I'm a complete dinosaur. I'm hopefully not quite finished yet, but I'm in my mid-60s and came to this very late. But my background is creativity. I was a graphic designer, and so my thing is video. And I think one of the questions you have to ask yourself is not just try and nick ideas from what other people are doing, but actually be really sure about what you want to achieve for you and for your care farm. Because my understanding of the care farm industry is that we're all totally individuals. The same as our farm workers are all individuals. And so everything really is geared up to the expression of you and your team and your geography and the way that you do things and your clientele and all that. So we started Pathways, we started 5.5 years ago when we got a derelict farm. And one of the pictures on there, you can see lots of doing up of the farm, holes in walls and brambles everywhere. So we learned a lot about ourselves and teamwork and all that kind of thing just by doing a lot of the work in the early days. And it became very apparent to me that what my motivation for doing this is to see people move on from one level of illness, being debilitated by their mental well-being, by having dementia. Dementia was a big thing for me. My father-in-law died with dementia, and that was one of my motivations for starting the farm in the first place. So I have a real soft spot for people with dementia. And it occurred to me very early on that we needed to integrate everybody together. So we used to have just a dementia day. We no longer do that. We have learning difficulties and mental health and dementia all in together. We're now working with ex-offenders as well. And so when the lockdown came, the dilemma was we can't function. We can't do what we do. The same boat that we're all in. And I think the question that I asked there was try and get really clear about what do you want to achieve. So what I wanted to achieve was we get about 50 people a week come to us, roughly 10 a day. I wanted to still try and reach out to them and give them some way of staying connected with what we were doing. So I'm not looking for, I think it's amazing that Lucy's got 4,000 people tuning in to see what she's doing. I wouldn't know what to do with 4,000 people unless they all wanted to throw money my way. I could find something to do with the money, but for me, I had 50 people that were my care, as it were. And I felt I had a duty of care and I wanted to try and reach them. So I was doing it on the phone and that kind of thing. But I thought, actually, I love this place. I think the farm is therapeutic. And so by taking videos, I just got my phone out and I started taking videos on my phone. And it's not even a fancy phone, it's an iPhone 5, so it's really not that advanced. My kids laugh at me. When are you going to get an upgrade? Yeah, I just got my phone out and I did a couple of things of me talking, little bits of intro, and then started filming animals, started filming some of the trees and the shrubs that were just starting to come up, and anything that I thought might be of interest. Fortunately, I do a bit of video editing, so I started to put it together. Rather than doing it live, I put it together I use Final Cut Pro, so I started doing it in that, and published. I think the first one was about 7 or 8 minutes long. Thinking, well, I'll try and do this as often as I can. I got bombarded with people emailing me and saying, that's amazing, I feel so connected, I feel so pleased that to see the animals are still well. And then I started getting emails like, well, since lockdown, Mum's had to go into a care home. So I sent the link to the care home and they're now putting it on the telly. And all the people in the care home are now watching the videos, and they're all, and my mum's telling them all how wonderful the donkeys are and how great you lot are and all that. And in fact, I was talking to a funder this morning. So I'm not trying to chase after lots and lots of people, but I'm a great believer in, if you do what you are passionate about and you do the right thing and you do it as well as you possibly can, then actually you're going to attract people anyway. The world is like that. People come to you. Certainly, the funder this morning is different because obviously there's not a lot of funding stuff going on at the moment. And they were talking to me about stuff like the videos actually we were talking about. And this lady who is the funding lead for one of the foundations that we work with said she passes this on to some families that she knows who've got young kids because they love sitting around and watching the animals. And so I said, well, they could subscribe if they wanted to. But I thought, how amazing. This funder now, I've become elevated in her eyes because of what we're doing to try and reach our farm workers. But as a funder, she's now thinking, actually, you guys are genuine. You're there to help people. And as a funder, I want to help you as much as I can. And I think that kind of knock-on is really valuable. So I think my message is what are you passionate about? What are the objectives that you're trying to achieve as a care farm? And what do you want to achieve through this? And how can you meet those objectives? So I think that, yeah, if any of you get a chance to look at the links, do. They're quite short videos. I've done about 20 or 20 something at the moment, and they do take a little bit of time. And I'm starting to think, am I going to run out of ideas? What do I do? You know, there's only so many times you can photograph the same chickens or the same donkeys or the same alpacas, and they are great. I mean, I spend days and days and days, and I don't get bored. So maybe other people won't. But yesterday, we've got a sensory garden at the farm. And it's a really beautiful place. It's a not a huge garden, but it came from a pile of brambles, and it's now got pathways, and it's got a wardrobe where you walk through to go into Narnia, which is our orchard, and we've got ponds and streams and a herby bit and different pathways that make different noises as you go around and different sensations. So it's quite an interesting path, been designed by, I kicked it off and then a mate of mine took it on, who's a really brilliant garden designer. And I've done a couple of videos about sensory garden, but I wanted to do something from, someone came up with an email and said, can you do some old to new, like how you've developed it? Show us the history of what you've done, clearing the brambles to get to where you are. So I started doing that. And because I put a lot of, if anyone's ever done video editing, I was putting lots of images on top of other images. So I did about a day and a half's work and realized that I'd only got a minute and a half's video out of it because and I thought, I can't do this. I can't get 7 minutes out of this. So I said to my mate, Tim, can we talk about what we want to say about what happened, just to infuse people about the process and get them to think, could I do this in my garden? Anything that's going to be interesting. So we tried it and we thought, you can't do it. The video moves so fast, you can't get enough dialogue. So what I did yesterday was he and I had a Zoom conversation and I just put the video camera behind me and I videoed the screen with he and I talking about 5 years of development of the care of the sensory garden. And we had some anecdotes in there, and we referred to a few things where I've got images. So I've edited down 25 minutes of conversation down to about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to throw some photographs on top of that. And that's my next one. I hope it works. I haven't seen it yet. But so I'm looking for creative ideas all the time. And I think really that would be my encouragement to you. Look for how can you be creative, given your resources, given your passion, given your abilities. You know, Lucy's great on social media. I'm not. So I'm doing something that I can do, which is video. But you're all going to be far more accomplished than I am on loads and loads of things. Do something that you're good at and get it out there for people to benefit from, because you will benefit and they will benefit, and that's surely what we're all after. So probably if anyone's got any questions, I can answer them, or else I can shut up.
Brilliant, Jeff, you're amazing. I don't know whether you wanted to just share your experience of having a couple of people coming back onto the farm again that you were telling us about. Would you just like to
Yeah, I mean, that was I was listening to a talk done by William and Kate, and William obviously is a huge advocate for mental health, and they were discussing the problems with lockdown on mental health and what might happen afterwards. Well, probably like all of you listening, we've all had that conversation. What on earth is going to happen after lockdown? How are we going to deal with the needs that are out there? And we've done a lot of talking about it. But I was really quite inspired by William. If you are listening to this, I'd love you to be a patron. My little plug. If anyone out there knows William, please put in a word for us. You never know. So I wrote an email. I got up at about 5 o'clock that morning. I couldn't sleep. And I wrote an email to our local authorities, or to the county council, who have decided that we have to shut. And I said to them, we've got a minibus, which is about 14 feet long, and we can self-isolate in the minibus. So we've got a driver and someone sits at the back, and we're more than 6 feet apart. How about if we get one person at a time, we pick them up and we bring them to the farm, totally self-isolated. We've got PPE, and then they can wander around. They've got 13 acres to wander around. They can go and visit the animals. They can do their bit for their own welfare. And we'll be there. We can sit on the patio. We can have a cup of tea and have a chat. They can have some human interaction, self-distancing. And then we'll get them back in the minibus and take them home. And I thought, you know what councils are like. Sorry, councillors, if anyone's listening, they'll say no. And they didn't. Within 24 hours, they wrote back and said, great idea, go for it. Can we help you with any PPE? So they did. They gave us a whole load of masks and got some funny little aprons, which we don't wear. Yeah, we've now started taking our first people on the farm. And in fact, one of my last videos that I put out on Sunday was an interview with the first 5 that came, talking about how they feel now to get back out in the open air. And one of them talked about seeing the little chicks, which were only just born when she last came, and now they're running around and they're almost chicken size. And it's that kind of thing where we're doing what we are here for. And I think as long as you're passionate about it and you follow your dream, other people are going to gain from it.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, that's been amazing to hear from you both. I think it's really inspirational. So we got some questions, Sarah.
Yeah, there's just a couple have come through. One's actually just a quick tag on from what Lucy was talking about earlier, because Mark asked about how much you charged, and he just asked a subsequent question, and will you keep doing them post COVID-19? You will keep doing the virtual stuff. And then 100%, yeah. Brilliant. And then the next one was for Jeff, and it says, it's from Sharon, and she was asking, do you edit the videos on your phone? I think you've already answered that, actually.
No, I use Final Cut Pro on my big whacking great iMac.
Yeah. And yes, so basically she was just wanting to know what program you used to edit the videos. But I guess I don't know if anybody knows of any decent video editing that can be done through phones. Perhaps, Lucy, if you know what you use.
I use Filmora Go, which is an app that you can get on Android and iPhone. It's free and it does pretty much everything. But if you've got an iPhone, you can just use iMovie, which is what's already installed on there, and it does enough for what you need. Once you get your head around it, it's fairly. I'm not great at editing videos at all, but I've managed to get my head around it and I've whacked some of it together.
Okay.
Sorry, can I just show you something? Because we took over our farm and it's been there for hundreds of years, 170 years. When we took it over, it was all broken down and rambling and all that. So we keep discovering things that we didn't know were there. And we're digging out an old loft. And I came across this and I put it on. I put this on Instagram, which I don't do very much, but I put this on Instagram and with a caption saying, "I should be all right for COVID-19 now." Can you see that? It's
yeah.
It's an old 1941 gas mask that we found in the loft. It's wonderful.
Yeah. At the moment, I think that's it for questions, unless anyone wants to ping anything through right now.
Yes, and I also just want to say, if anybody's on, because we've got quite a lot of people on, if anybody particularly wants us to sort of unmute them so that they can share something with everybody else that they are doing, if you feel that you're sort of confident enough to just want to tell us what you're doing, we're happy to do that. Rachel's waving at me. Do you want to say something?
Only just wanted to ask you whether you wanted me to continue recording the session.
No, you can stop recording now.
Thank you for watching this Growing Care Farming webinar. Please feel free to contact the GCF team for further information or support using the contact information shown on the slide. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter and keep an eye on our website.